All right, this is going to be a really tough one to film. My nerves are all over the place. I can't believe what I've just witnessed. Firstly, before we get into the fights, I just want to thank everyone who's been subscribing. We finally hit 500 subs. I'm over the moon about that. Hopefully on to the next milestone. I might start doing some live feeds soon. Card started kind of badly, but then we really kicked into gear. Let's get into how well we did with grabbing that bag right about now. Yeah, this was a little bit inexplicable, to be honest. To be fair to Crosbie, he did start out pretty well. He tried to be active, but I did say the range was going to be a big advantage for Jousset. And once he found his feet and shook the nerves off, he looked like he could spam that straight jab and leg kicks all night. The fight could have probably been drawn out into a more prolonged beating for Crosbie, but he must have had an early flight to catch and inexplicably went for a fucking trip on a judo black belt. When of course he failed in this ridiculous endeavor and got flung like a ragdoll, he made zero attempt to grab hands or protect his neck. The Frenchman just took this early Christmas gift and strangled the shit out of him. SBG can't stop taking L's. Jousset then dropped Gary's name in a pretty funny call out, but he ain't getting that fight and doesn't really want it. Gary would fuck that man up. Yeah, everyone who knows me knows how much I get off on trolling on CKB, so my balls were positively tingling after this one. Not as much as they were about to be, but we'll get to that. Jung missed weight, so I was feeling frothy as it was, but I was not prepared for how fucking embarrassing this would end up being. Miranda found the back at once, slipped around, pulled Jung down like this was like a light jiu-jitsu practice, found the back, locked in a body triangle, transitioned to a neck crank, slipped under the neck with virtually no resistance, and choked Jung unconscious. Fucking hell, this explanation took longer than the actual fight. Shane Jung doesn't have to worry about getting cut, which should be a certainty at this point. He might come back to find the locks changed at CKB as well. Eugene Berman looked genuinely embarrassed to be standing there next to this loser and probably contemplated leaving him alone right there, and I loved every second of it. Yeah, I'm not even sure where to start with this one. Another L for CKB. This fight absolutely stunk the house out. Rantke won, we all lost, you know those ones. He controlled against the fence in the first round, and Blood Diamond did fuck all but defend, so yeah, Rantke round. Second round, Rantke tried to adopt the same approach, but it was the boxing where he found some unexpected success, wobbling Blood Diamond with a check right, and dropping him to a knee to clearly win that round. Then the third came. Now, Blood Diamond did cause some damage, however, those moments did come from elbows that followed not one, but 4 knees to the sack in the round, which was finally Dr. Point. Rantke took the cards 29-27, despite sporting a juicy golf ball on the side of his nut, which, don't get me wrong, was correct, but to be honest, they both need to be sacked immediately. Rantke called the crowd a bag of faggots at the end, which, I'm not joking, was the most entertaining moment of this contest for me. Alright, this is where this card really got going. This was a great scrap to wash the putrid taste out of our mouths. Quinonez really spammed leg kicks well to start, which really messed up Nasrat's lead leg. Great strategy. For me though, throughout the three, it was Nasrat mixing up lefts and rights to the head and body that really stood out. He wobbled Quinonez in the second and third to edge both those rounds, and despite having the leg hurt, kept actively firing away. By the way, great corner advice from Faraz Zahabi, who advised Nasrat to switch the league with orthodox to protect his damaged leg, and then switch to his conventional southpaw stance in close to negate the damage that was being done to the leg. He really earned his cut. I thought Haqparest won the fight by doing more damage and offering up more volume. Fight was called 30-27 unanimously, which was a little harsh on Quinonez, who really made a fight of this. This was another fun scrap, and honestly, it was a bit of a tough one to call. For me, Mallarkey won the first round by being more accurate. Both men landed pretty well. Third round, Makdessi clearly won the round by landing big as Mallarkey started to gas and kind of fall off towards the end. Those rounds were clear. For me, it was the second round that's kind of the one that fucked everyone up. For me, the second went kind of similarly to the first. Mallarkey was finding more success with the jabs and leg kicks and was on a clear route to winning that round. However, with about 30 seconds to go, Makdessi caught Mallarkey coming in and flash dropped him for the most significant moment of the round. Now, if he absolutely hurt him, that would be enough to swing the round. However, it was pretty flash, and for me, that's why Mallarkey correctly won the round and the fight. Fun scrap, and this card was really starting to heat up. Man, I love Chepe Mariscal, and I told everyone not to sleep on this man. Now, the end was a little bit unfortunate, and I'm going to get to that. First round was pretty close, but I did edge Jenkins for being slightly more accurate, and the leg kicks were doing some serious damage. Mariscal was making it pretty ugly though, as he does, and constantly was getting in Jenkins' face. Now, the second round was entirely Mariscal. He pushed Jenkins against the fence and landed some really nice shots, dirty boxing in the clinch, and pounded away at the thighs. Back in the day when we were kids, we used to call those knees to the thighs granddadding, so I know how much they cane. Then it happened. Jenkins tried to get a double under, and Mariscal landed a really nice hip toss, and as Jenkins tried to break his fall, he landed awkwardly and just dislocated his elbow, leading to a verbal submission. In my opinion, this was on my way to landing that over 2.5 that I called, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. The way it was going though, Mariscal was on his way to winning this fight. Alright, I know a certified cocksmith dick slinger when I see one, and judging by the three baddies on the front row giggling when Ulberg was announced, it's due to be one hell of an after party. Strangely, he was losing the first round as Jung cracked away with leg kicks, but as it looked like the round was kind of slipping away, Ulberg caught him flush and dropped him, grabbing the round. Now the second round, Jung opted to continue with the leg kick strategy, while Ulberg just peppered the shit out of his face. Why Jung didn't go for a clinch or attempt to take down, I'll never understand. To be fair to Jung, he knew what time it was, and in the third he put the pressure on. But when it looked like Ulberg was fading, he found a second wind, landed a nice takedown, and started battering Jung on the ground, finding a rear naked choke. Now, when I first saw it, I did think that Jung tapped, but I wasn't sure, and the fight ended. Was going to go to a clear unanimous decision, but the replay confirmed the Jung tap. Nice win. Now, the problem started when Ulberg decided to talk. He tried to recreate the Kevin Garnett NBA Finals moment with zero context. Then he takes a play right out of the CKB handbook and calls out a guy that firstly already has a fight and secondly has got absolutely smoked in his last three in Dominic Reyes. Stop that. It was such a bitch move. Trust a CKB guy to put in a great performance, then ruin it by opening his fat mouth. Peas in a pod, those cringy cunts. Yeah, this one was pretty quick and immensely satisfying. Turkalj got pretty much smashed and TKO'd definitively, and it felt good to see such a creepy, arrogant pervert get such a brutal humbling in front of millions of people. Pedro has had some bad luck in his career with injuries, so it was nice to see him put it together and get a win. Not much to say outside of that. Yeah, Pedro beat the brakes off him. Yeah, I got this one as wrong as humanly possible. It was one of the biggest L's I took on the card. One of the only L's I took on the card. A fight started out pretty much exactly the same way as the last one did, as in the last fight between these two. Lane landed some kicks to the body, and then he poked him in the eye. Unfortunately for Lane, he didn't dig it in this time. Then Tafa just marked across the octagon and landed an absolute bomb of a right, straight to the chin. It was done, but then Tafa put the cherry on top by drilling his head through the mat. Emphatic battering. These tubby Tafas are no joke when they put hands on you. Yeah, holy shit, man. This fight was fantastic. And for me, outside of the main event, was the fight of the night. I credit Dos Santos for making it this way. Kape is incredibly skilled in every facet of the game. He does have one glaring weakness though, and that's his attitude at times. He's incredibly arrogant, and this could have cost him here. First round, he looked excellent. He stalked Dos Santos down with clearly no respect and was dodging what was coming back, countering with a variety of strikes. He looked incredibly slick. It looked like a man was fighting a small child in there. But then Dos Santos kind of started to warm up into the fight, showed an incredible chin, started countering and landing strikes himself. But to put it simply, this was a back and forth war. It looked like it was being played at double speed, and Kape simply had more of those moments than Dos Santos did. Kape won the fight pretty clearly, but Dos Santos belongs and can probably go in there right now with anyone outside the top 5. At 22 years old, he has a really bright future. If Kape can learn a little bit of humility, which he probably won't, he could probably be a champion someday. Side note for those counting, Kape called everyone at CKB a bunch of faggots. We've now got 2 F-bombs in one card. To be fair, I don't love that word, but you might have a point. A great win for Kape, and yeah, brilliant fight. I'd definitely go back and watch it if you haven't. Yeah, this was another great fight while it lasted, and it went exactly as I expected it to go. Volkov went for punishing body kicks and long-range jabs, and Tai brutally smashed the leg. Great strategy, by the way. Then he tried to close the distance quickly and just swing wildly and hope to catch him flush. While it looked like the leg kicks that Tuivasa was landing were taking their toll, he was eating way too much in return, and it ended up being a slip in the second round. Volkov got on top of him, landed some really nasty ground and pound, and then eventually locked up an Ezekiel choke, which ended the bout. Really good win for Volkov, who's a really humble, nice guy. Tuivasa's always humble in defeat, just as he is in victory. Yeah, great fight for what it was, and yeah, what more can I say? Alright, I'm still really gathering my thoughts on this one. I don't think I've ever been this much in shock after any UFC fight, let alone a championship fight of this magnitude. What an unbelievable performance by Sean Strickland. There's a lot I've got to say about this. I haven't really managed to formulate my thoughts on it yet. All I can say, or the easiest way I can go about this is to say, Sean Strickland won this fight by drawing Israel Adesanya into his way of fighting. What do I mean by that? Essentially, what Strickland did was, he did what he does in pretty much every Strickland fight you see. He applied the pressure whilst staying like very defensively responsible, and Adesanya found that really, really difficult to deal with. I think what changed this fight and had it ended up going the way it did was when Strickland caught Adesanya at the end of the first and dropped him and got his respect. Because from then on out, Adesanya couldn't play that game, picking him off. But also he was a bit too tentative to go forward and try to crack him as well, because he knew he could be hurt. I thought that for Strickland to have any chance in this fight, he had to apply some kind of clinch game, takedown game. He didn't attempt a single one in this fight. I think he attempted one actually in the third, where they quickly separated. He won this fight on the feet. Clearly, 4 rounds to 1. Terrible night for CKB. Wonderful night for everybody else in the world. Strickland's a new middleweight champion, and I wanted to like, you know, troll and go off on Adesanya and take the piss, but to be honest, I'm so made up for Sean Strickland right now that seems to be the overwhelming feeling I have, rather than kind of wanting to kind of rub it in on Israel and what happened there. This might be the greatest feeling I've had after a fight in UFC, or in watching MMA in general. It's certainly in the top 3. I'm just lost for words. What a night. And this really punctuated it. All right, so we get to the outcomes. As you can see here, I only had 2 picks that didn't come off, which is kind of becoming a regular for me. That was the under 2.5 for Mariscal Jenkins, which, to be fair, was looking like it was going that way. But yeah, the Tafa money line, boy, I got that horribly wrong. But apart from that, if you were following me as you should be doing, could have made some serious money off your boy. All right, so this took my record up to 246,113. I've finally gone up another percentage, up to 69. You're not going to find that anywhere. Again, I9s is probably the closest. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm lost for words. Like and subscribe. Let's keep this journey going. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. Now I'm out.